had a website, but it was almost like a vanity project back then. Now it is like an entrance fee to have a business.
Good. Hey, I wanted to let you know that the Google guarantee, the Google ads, man, I'm getting 12 to 16 calls a week.
My goal is at least do 10 to 15 more years, grow it up, sell it for 40, 50 million, maybe more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Titan Talks. My name is Jonathan Stern. I'm an engineer at Topline Pro, but once a week, I have the honor of sitting down with successful home service entrepreneurs to discuss their journeys to success. Today is May 12th, 2023, and my guest is Jeff Wraley. Jeff is a visionary in the world of residential contracting and is the founder and CEO of Groundwork, a platform aiming to revolutionize the sales process for contractors. Jeff, thanks so much for coming on Titan Talks. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jonathan.
To kick things off, would love to hear about your journey into this industry. Maybe you could tell us about how you got started in home services.
Yeah, so when I was actually in high school, I ran a lawn mowing business and, stared at large piles of mulch and called all my friends to help me figure out how to get them to the places they needed to get to. Just ran the typical high school lawn care, landscaping business. Ended up building a deck with my dad off the back of our house outside of Indianapolis here, and was just kind of enamored by that process. And, so from 16, 17 years old, I was kind of in it a bit. I ended up going to Purdue and getting a civil engineering degree with that understanding of, hey, I like to build things. That was what I realized about myself, and civil engineering it was, and then got into general contracting in the commercial world. So hospitals, higher education buildings, some sports and entertainment building, huge hundreds of millions of dollars of construction. And so got to see firsthand a lot of different trades, a lot of different, some of the nuts and bolts of, that type of style of construction. And kind of all along, my wife and I, she's an interior designer. So we've, our powers combined, we've realized that we can do things around the house. And so we've renovated several homes now, and including the one I'm in now. But we like to take the ugly one and make it pretty. And so along that way, I've interfaced with a lot of different contractors, certainly on the commercial side, but also residential. And I started just kind of toying around with this idea of, man, the sales process is, it's kind of old and busted. Contractors spend a ton of time driving around town, chasing things that may not end up being worth their while. And, it's a time commitment for those contractors. And, the current process isn't quite built for modern consumers either. I was actually, as a homeowner, I was renovating this house. And right when we bought it, it was just like, all right, what can we do that's kind of like quick and easy to like get the ball moving on this, what seemed to be a gargantuan project. And some of it was exterior. So I needed some old boxwoods taken out, some trees limbed up. And so that was the first one, was just like a simple kind of cleanup landscaping project. I actually put shot a video on my phone, dropped it in a Google Slides presentation, and sent it out to a bunch of contractors to get their feedback. And then I interviewed them about it, and they're like, yeah, that was pretty slick. I like that. So that was kind of the first moment where it was like, hey, this is maybe something. And, we've been building and iterating and, streamlining that process ever since.
Let's go into the tool a bit then. Could you share a little bit more about what it does?
Yeah. So, the product is one of those dead simple products. It's truly about collaboration using text and video. So we've just made it supremely easy for a contractor to request and receive and store a project overview video from a homeowner. So let's say a homeowner reaches out either through a contractor's website or through, a phone number they find online somewhere, or the yellow pages, I guess, if that's still a thing. But a homeowner's looking to get in contact with a contractor. That contractor, if they're a groundwork user, they have a unique way to enter that contact information. Our system automatically follows up with and reaches out to the client, and then walks them through a series of steps right from their phone to upload a video, provide project information, and kind of templatize based on whatever project they're, with the trade and the project type. So it's a really customizable experience that is not only effective for just like kind of that pre-qual moment, but we've layered in a bunch of aspects that help a contractor really look good. I say all the time, like, that's part of our job, is make a contractor look good, which I know you all are all about that as well. So how can we do that in a very relational way? Although it is digital, we really lean on the relationship that we can help to build through technology between contractors and their ideal customers.
Is the primary piece then video? And could you say a little bit more about in what ways that was missing from the process before?
Yeah, most time it is video. We do have certain trades and certain situations where it's a combination of video and photo. But video is a great equalizer. What we found is that there's a lot that you get from video that you don't quite get from a photo. Many contractors are out there, hey, text me a photo of this. And I could go into the challenges of that. But the first challenge for contractors is just not organized. If you've got just a bunch of random numbers who you don't know who that is, and it's just a number in your text chain, it's highly unorganized. So our system is very purpose built for that early, like, top of sales funnel collaboration and conversion. So yeah, I think the before state is, that drive time. It's if I'm a contractor and want to get eyes on a project, it's, some people will go to Google Maps and, Google Street View and try to see some of that stuff, but it's really not, that's from like a very kind of dry perspective, not necessarily with the commentary and the feedback from that homeowner, which we see is very, very important.
I'm sure you talk to pros every day. What is the biggest pain point of theirs that you're solving? Could you maybe give a few examples? Would love to hear, about the painter whose life has been made 10 times easier by Groundwork.
Yeah, so we've got one painter up in I think Pennsylvania, and he said that, well, there's really two aspects of what we help contractors achieve. One is just like I may have mentioned, the drive time. So our goal is 2 to 10 hours a week, and that's not pulled out of thin air marketing speak. That's like, from when we talk to our customers, they say, oof, wow, that saved me that trip. This is a dog of a project. I don't want to mess with that one. And the other aspect of that kind of drive time is we've got customers that have a pretty large service area, whether they're a franchise business. And sometimes those territories and the marketing reach throw out leads that are, sometimes 40, 50, 90 minutes away. So that's a challenge that we can help them accomplish, overcome. In addition, we've had customers that have looked to get into new territories. Maybe it's the Indianapolis to Cincinnati jump, right? That's 2 hours away by car. Cities are very similar. We've had customers stand up marketing activities in, the second location, and like, hey, I'll send when I know the leads are qualified and we've run them through this process and know that they're worthwhile going to see, let's stack some meetings up there in Cincinnati, and then it's worth the trip for the day. So there's some interesting applications on that side of things. But our goal, one of our customers will tell you that he got to a point where running the process, in-person sales appointments, which we don't rail against those, even though we are kind of a digital tool. Many times, if you've been in this business at all, there's oddities. It's not a terribly cookie cutter process to estimate one of these projects.
It really is one heck of an industry. You never know what you're going to find. You really don't.
Yeah, and I mean that can be said for many things. I mean, we've got crazy stories of just sales appointments gone wrong. People are weird, and you never know what you're walking into on that side of things. But you never know what's behind the wall, or even if you say an interior paint job or a landscaping project, like you start digging and taking a look at things, and all of a sudden it's like, man, this drywall's been water damaged, or whatever the case might be. It becomes pretty complex. So our goal is to get to 80 to 90% close rate before an appointment happens. We've seen that over and over, where contractors just really, really increase their close rate because they've built relationship, they understand the project, they have a sales strategy going into the meeting. So that's what we facilitate.
I always like to ask about pricing. I find it fascinating, a painter just starting out, a landscaper just starting out. How do you decide on pricing? You are building a technology company, but I think the question's similar. How in the early days do you settle on a price for the service that previously didn't exist? What's the process there?
It's a very interesting question. The software business model and the home service business model, home improvement, very fundamentally different, but there are analogies there. We started pricing the product. It was just like, our costs are minimal, right? Hosting, all that stuff. As you start out, they're meaningful, but once you get customers and get some cash flow and some subscriptions going, it kind of pays for itself. Customer acquisition and all that other stuff kind of stack up against you in terms of a broader cash flow look. But I encourage contractors who are just starting out, just go at it. Like you can always refine your pricing model, which is what we did. We just threw some ideas out there and said, okay, what would it take for, you look at the alternative, we look at a tank of gas, right? Like, is this product worth a tank of gas? It's like, yeah, I think we could probably get our heads around that. And contractors get that too. So I think there's some understanding there when you're talking to the right customers, and being smart about how you're pricing things and pricing on value. There's like a bit of some triangulation there of, premium pricing, who you're talking to, alternatives, and all that good stuff. But for people just starting out, try something, take notes, be sure that you're understanding that this is an experimentation process to get your pricing tight. Take notes, understand your profitability job by job, and then refine. I mean, we've adjusted our pricing a ton. We just launched a lower price, kind of more simplified product for contractors who are just starting out. And we'll see how that goes. We're tracking it, but these are the types of things. You just try it, refine. I mean, it's a very entrepreneurial process, no matter what you're doing when you're starting a business, whether it's software or contracting. Give it a shot, take notes, be smart, pay attention, and refine.
We're in an industry that's historically been underserved by technology. Number one, how do you see the industry evolving in the coming 3 to 5 years? But then what have been some of the challenges thus far as you introduce your product to contractors that historically have had next to nothing like it?
Yeah, so the shift that we are seeing is absolutely tectonic. It's I talk about it's a healthy market, right? Contractors and home improvement demand is there, even though some say it may have fallen off a little bit. We have seen a couple months over the winter were slow, but it's roared back. Contractors are busy. If you're doing the right stuff, you should be busy. So good, healthy demand. Homeowners want technology in the process, that you end up winning when you put technology in the process, whether that be from a marketing, sales, or, kind of, estimating production side of things. It all matters. And then baby boomers are aging out of the workforce. And that's traditionally, if you look at like the average age of an electrician, as an example, I could probably look that up and pull the stat, but I'm guessing it's late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in that range. So there's that shift is happening. And so the next 3 to 5 years are super exciting. I think contractors that pay attention now, as opposed to, a couple of years from now, are going to be obviously ahead. So that's that aspect of things. But, challenges and things that we see as opportunities going ahead is consumers want this. At least our product, they want a quicker, easier way to get going with their project. And so when we get a contractor to say, oh, wow, I get it, and lean into what might seem like a small percentage of the population, in their mind, at least, it's a pretty awesome shift that we've seen. I think there's one of the things that the misconceptions that we hear is, homeowners just want you to shake their hand, and they want, it's like, well, do they want that? Or is that just kind of the way you've been doing it? So that status quo aspect of, like working to help people understand things a little bit differently, that's a big part of what we do in our sales process. Is we just shine a light on, hey, this is how things are changing. And it's, once we get past that, it's, rich conversations, and it's a lot of fun.
What are pros commonly demanding that you're not yet able to offer? Looking ahead a bit, where do you see the product going?
Oh man, I can't divulge all of our secrets, but we are getting requests for, mobile apps and, a bunch of stuff from where we are. We get a lot of, kind of collaboration ideas. And part of our job is listening to those requests, as I'm sure you all do. Your product team listens to those requests. There's a famous, I think it's Henry Ford quote, where he's, it's like, if you ask people what they want, they'll say, they wanted a faster horse. It's like, well, here's another idea. What about an actual automobile? It's like, whoa, okay, well, I didn't think about that. So it's our job to take in those requests for a faster horse and turn those into product features and elements of the experience that accomplish the kind of the job to be done behind the request, and work on it. So there's a ton of stuff we've got out there. We have a Facebook group, so we get all sorts of requests in there of, hey, I actually just asked last week, what do you want to see that you can't do yet with Groundwork? And there's some small stuff, but yeah, there's fun stuff coming. I just can't quite talk about it yet.
Jeff, would you like to close with a rapid fire round?
Let's do it.
As we look back on your career so far, what's one piece of advice you wish you'd received when you were just starting out?
Piece of advice I wish I would have received. I think there's one of the things I've realized is that in your career, you can write your own story. And I look back at my career and say, was this a resume building activity? Even if it's a fail, even if it's not the ideal situation, how can I tell the story of I learned something, I grew in this way or that way? So I think having that perspective earlier in my career would have been very valuable.
What's the greatest mistake you've made at the helm of Groundwork, and what have you learned?
I think we would have built faster if we knew the pandemic was coming.
Mm.
I know that's a unknowable thing, but having a product that was a bit more scalable in that time frame would have been a really fun thing to experience.
Overall, for your business, has the pandemic been a net positive or net negative?
It continues to be a net positive. It's changed the way people think, contractors and homeowners, and it really sped up innovation.
Proudest moment as CEO?
Anytime we bring on another team member and get to see them dig in, and we had a kickoff meeting for Q2 recently, and seeing the team together, having a good time, jiving. Proudest moment for sure.
What's your goal? Why are you doing all this with Groundwork?
So I think the trades have a pretty big reputation problem. And it, as I've gotten to work with more and more small business owners, entrepreneurs, I just love to see people grow and succeed doing something that takes risk. And so anything we can do to support that, can't say that was the initial mission of the business, but as we've gone, it's become more and more important to me to develop tools and a system that helps contractors succeed and change the stereotype of contractors being the Luddites, the laggards of the entire professional world.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for being a part of Titan Talks. It was great to meet you, and I wish you all the success in the world with Groundwork. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for having me.